It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific. For about an hour and 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We're simulcasting it over at gunchannels.com. We take the audio from it every once in a while and post that over on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage anybody that might be listening to it later or watching it over on YouTube or watching it over on Gun Channels and when we're not live. We encourage you to leave some feedback on whatever platform it might be that you're listening or watching, because that helps us know where people are and it helps the shows get recommended to more listeners on those platforms. So we do appreciate that favor. There's 4 hosts, three of us are here today. We've got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Glad to be here.
Got Smeggy jumping in from Michigan.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
And then down here in Arizona. Let's see. Today is episode 328. It's Wednesday. We'll be talking about CCW, specifically CCW without a gun. We'll be talking about entertainment, the top 10 commonly used guns in movies. Then the tactical, no, it'll be the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown, since we didn't do that yesterday. And then looks like we've got stuff that we do on a daily basis as well. So before we get into that and start the show, we usually take a break at the beginning, see if anything happened overnight, anything worth talking about.
I didn't see anything. So
Not in my world today.
Yeah, I was completely out of it yesterday, so I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, you have a weird work schedule right now.
Yeah, I should be kind of back to normal now, but yesterday was all messed up.
Well, yesterday was a hit or miss show over on Gun Channels, followed by Big Gunner. Of course, Andalusia Armory was on at the same time as us yesterday. We worked right on top of them. Those are pretty good shows, though. And then Live Lobby after wasn't as huge as some of them, but had a bit of chatter in there as well. I got some good news yesterday. I don't know if did I talk about the Texas yesterday on the show? That was before the show, I think.
I don't know, but you could talk about it now.
On air after.
Yeah, I'm not sure either because things go by pretty quick. And it's about 1 billion degrees here. So like Smeggy, I just got up from a nap. So it feels like it's 6 a.m. for me right now. So got the Old West Guns playing cards, and they're more than funded at this point. Funded to the extent we're going to have stickers made here in the USA by one of our friends on the Instagram. Then we've got patches being designed right now, PVC patches, and those will both all be included in with the decks at no extra cost or anything, because we've gotten or the whatever we call it, the project has reached that level of funding for those stretch goals. And then yesterday I started calling around because we're getting close to the next stretch goal, which would be make them in the USA. So I started calling around about that. And we do have agreement to have them made tentatively in Texas. So looking pretty cool. So we will have more news about that. I'm trying to ration it a little bit. But we will, no matter what, get the cards made in USA. It will be a lot more comfortable if we can get to the, I think $16,000 level, because there is a huge minimum order to get things made in USA. But it's a smaller order than it was last year. And anyway, looking forward to that, and we'll talk more about that. And again, thanks to everyone who's allowed it to fund, which allowed me to even start making those phone calls, and then made this contact. And again, I appreciate everybody who's participating in it, and encourage you to share it. And sharing it with one person, if they buy a deck, that doubles it from less than 300 people to 600 people. That would definitely take us to the point where we can make them comfortably in the USA. And we'll get them made in the USA. I think at this point, it's a little scary because I might be sitting on hundreds and hundreds of decks kind of thing. But I'll have an opportunity to sell those, of course. So be a lot more comfortable if all those were moved in the project, though, and then there's not a big question mark for the actual dollars coming in. Anyway, so that's the Kickstarter Old West Guns playing card deck update. And again,
yeah, that's great news, though. That's going to be U.S.
Yeah, I'm super stoked because it's going to be at least what, $8,500, $85,000.
We can only hope, huh?
I don't even know. That'd be scary, but yeah, it would be great. At $8,500, though, none of that really, except for my patches. Depending on where I get those made, those might go out of seeds, but that's a couple of $100 out of a couple of $1,000. So I'm glad that we get to keep all the scratch here, all the labor, and all the stuff that's going to be paying for, all the I guess salaries that's going to be paying for to get the things made, and it's being made in Texas, which is kind of cooler than being made in Kentucky, or yeah, it was Kentucky, because it's an Old West state, right? So I mentioned that earlier today. I thought that was, I never even thought about that, but that's pretty cool. Like being made in the Old West to some extent. All right, well, so that's episode 328. We will start talking about first segment, CCW, CCW without a gun. Concealed carry weapon permit. I guess we can start that way. We all live in different states. I live in Arizona. We have a CCW that allows us to carry anything. The only things that the state of Arizona prohibits for some stupid reason are chacos, saps, and brass knuckles. But everything else, I can carry. I can carry a sword if I want.
That is not the case in Michigan. We have a CPL, which is a concealed pistol license. So it does not, the license does not cover any type of other thing. Now that being said, we have pretty good like knife laws and whatnot. And although it's weird, I've been trying to figure this out, but the way the thing's worded, it says something about like it's illegal to carry a knife greater than 3 inches for unlawful purposes. So it's like if you're carrying like a boot knife or something, right? Like a big long knife, do they have to prove that you're going to use it unlawfully? Because if you say, well, it's, for cutting boxes or whatever, or it's for self-defense, or it's for, gardening or something, then I don't really know how you get in trouble for that. But either way, they might hassle you if you have like a big long knife or something. But
yeah, in Illinois, we have a CCL license for concealed carry license for carrying pistols only. And since we are a non-NFA state, meaning that nothing NFA is allowed, that also means that a whole bunch of other things are also not allowed, including things that you would normally use for self-defense. And again, we don't necessarily have good knife laws here in regards to types of knives.
Well, I don't know if you misspoke, but are you saying because of your NFA stance, you're also anti-self-defense, or are you saying because of your CCW stance, they're anti-self-defense?
No, I was just bringing that up as an example of the way that Illinois rolls.
No, just being anti-gun or whatever.
That they're, the only reason we have a carry permit for pistols is because it was forced down the legislator's throat, and they weren't going to swallow anything else because it wasn't mandated by the courts. So we have, with the exception of the pepper spray and very short knives. That's about, I'm sure I might be forgetting about something, but that's about it in regards to options.
So we're talking about
again,
carrying or CCW without a gun. So we talk
right.
States or whatever, but it doesn't mean we can't know about it. So we do have an audience. A lot of people are watching right now, thanks to the live viewers. So we expect and we are anticipating feedback or conversation from everybody out there, but let us know. Looks like we got a couple people chiming in on the knife laws in their area, but we're talking CCW without a firearm I'm always been, and I'm going to continue to be a proponent or whatever it would be, an advocate. Again, I don't know what it would be, but my position is knives aren't just weapons. I don't like using knives. I carry around a knife at least, some kind of a dagger thing as a weapon. If I was tasked, if I was sworn or something, and I had to carry a firearm for a living, and I had it out, or at least I was more of a target for my gun, I would think twice about that because that's a different situation. But I'm not in that situation. And I don't want somebody's blood or hepatitis blood all over me. When there's other options,
So,
or taser, and
well, I guess, and what are those other options? I guess that's the point of the question. Is short of a pistol, because the question is without a pistol, what are the other options?
well, I always have my brain, and then whatever's at hand, and then I'll carry around a taser if it's a situation where I don't. It's not a primary situation where I have a gun.
Okay, so you can carry around a taser in your state.
Well, of course, you can carry around anything except brass knuckles for some reason, and a sap, which is stupid, and then chocos. I carry around ninja stars and swords and blowgun, just not the chocos.
Yeah, we can't carry any of that stuff. But it goes back to the subject of a knife. Doesn't have to be long to be a weapon. You know, instead of if for whatever reason you don't have your gun on you, for various reasons, a knife is a potential tool, and it doesn't have to be excessively long to be effective. But it's certainly not my go-to tool because it has no standoff capability. You have to be within, literally arm's reach to do anything. And that's not a good place, not a good idea as to the point that you want to start to engage your opposition.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, a knife could be a deterrent if you got someone who's, getting ready to attack you or something, and you pull the knife out, getting ready. They might say, "Okay, never mind, just kidding."
Yeah, but, okay.
You have to be prepared to use it, but
not one for the sake of the example. You got a guy 10 feet from you with a handgun, and you're there with 10 feet from you with a.
I agree.
He has standoff capability. He doesn't have to get close to you. You take a move towards him, he will shoot you before you ever get within distance of contact.
So you're gonna. So I'm gonna suggest another option, which I've suggested before. Anybody laughs at it half time, but whistle. I have one on my keychain, and most bad guys they ambush. They require discretion or whatever. They want to be out of the public eye, so they're usually going to wait for you in a dark parking lot or alley or whatever. So making as much commotion as possible, even if it doesn't actually turn heads, it's going to give that bad guy not his typical scenario, OODA loop and all that. I really think a whistle is one of those things that I can't imagine any way you can get in trouble for having a whistle anywhere. And I get the dollar store ones that are just a tube of aluminum shaped out, so there's no ball or anything that requires any parts. I've had other whistles that break over time as a key ring. And I think that's an excellent deterrent. You guys are talking about people all the time, and I understand that, I guess. I don't live in a city. I don't have any fear of another person. I guess it's possible, so I do carry a gun. But I think about why I carry as much for critters and rabid things and stuff like that, which a knife ain't going to help me at all. So I think also just making a bunch of noise, I don't know if it's going to deter a pack of rabid coyotes or something, but it might make some just stand in a single sick animal. Leave me alone. Leave my dog alone.
So are you advocating for a small caliber pistol? Is that what you're saying?
Whistle. I know that sounds like...
Oh, whistle. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think a whistle is a great idea. It has multiple uses, but the bare minimum is when people hear an unusual noise or a noise they don't usually hear, they have a tendency to turn their head and look. Now, they may not look twice, but at least they'll look once. Unlike a car alarm, where people are so used to car alarms going off, a lot of times they don't even look to see which car is being has the alarm going off. But a whistle is different.
A couple of blasts out of a whistle in a parking lot where it's out of the norm, and then what are you doing with that gun? Or somebody, help me or something.
Yeah.
I need help. That is gonna anyway. That
Yeah.
works all at every age, and unless you've got some sort of a gunshot to the chest, I guess you're not gonna be able to blow a whistle.
Yeah.
But
And I think that's also a good example of layering either defenses or tools on top of each other, rather than just depending on one tool, i.e. the whistle. You want to use the whistle in combination with other things like, hey, get out of here, or don't pull that gun, or whatever it is. You're alerting people to, now you have their attention. Now you're giving them words as to what's going on.
now, going beyond that, if we're talking about being aware of our situation and getting the hell out of Dodge as an option and a viable option, then especially if you've got people you travel with often, or kids or family or whatever, everybody having a whistle on their keychain, then having some simple thing like 3 blasts and start looking for who's blowing a whistle. And if it's one of us, look for what the hell we're frantically waving our hands about or something, something as simple as that. Or even having some sort of, if I blow my whistle in this, toot, toot, toot or something, then that means get the hell out and go to the car or something like that. And that's something you don't need to be near a kid or near a friend in a store or a movie theater or something.
Yep. Another tool that I think we talk about it occasionally, but not as a defense tool. Usually it's for an identification purposes. And that's a weapons light that also has a bezel on it that can do some impact damage.
Perfect.
In addition to identifying what's going on, and as well as if you have a flashlight, people will be able to see where's all that yelling and screaming coming from. That they'll see if you have a light on the general direction that you happen to be in.
Well, hold on. You said weapon light, so that means a light mounted to a firearm. So let's talk.
Well, it may be designed to be mounted to a firearm, but it's the reason I like them is because they're typically about 6 inches long or just a little bit shorter than that, and the size of the tube usually around 20 millimeters. So it's a good sized tube to fit in most people's hands.
That is not a weapon.
And a good one will be made out of metal all the way around. And so it can be clamped onto for, let's say, mounting it on a rifle or simply carrying it in your hand.
Right. That's a flashlight that's mounted to a weapon. But a weapons light is like a Surefire X300 or a X400 or a Streamlight that clips onto the accessory rail of a pistol. That is what's typically called a weapons light. It's, just for the sake of being on the same page with jargon. What you're talking about would technically like a scout if it was attached to the body and then attached to your rail, but you're talking just basically a tactical light is what most people are going to call something with a crenulated bezel, something that's basically like a roll of dimes, right? You're talking the CR123 batteries, 2 of them stacked. Those things are about 30 centimeters or something in diameter, less than an inch. Like you say, you can get them in aluminum. Although the polymer ones are good to go, and you can get used Surefires now all over the place. Excellent flashlights that people just, they want the new ones, so they sell their old ones, get them really cheap. My issue with the ones you're talking about are they typically don't have some kind of a pocket clip or nothing, so it can be a little bit hard to deploy if you don't have like on your belt or in a special pocket, like on some kind of tactical pants, where like just most lights will have some sort of a clip, like a AA light. They'll have some sort of a clip because it's meant to be in your pocket. They're not going to be as bright as the ones you're talking about. But I think
the ones that I have, and I have a couple different models from generic to Olight. I don't have a Streamlight, but they all came with a pocket clip if that's how you want to carry it.
So I definitely agree with you there. I carry at least one flashlight all the time, and then if I know I'm going to be out or worried about something, movie theater situation like at a mall or something, I have a big light like a Surefire and a couple of CR123s, and I like 500 plus lumens. I don't care what anybody says, and again, that can be a deterrent. You can flash a flashlight into any mammal, and it has eyes. It has to deal with it. In fact, probably other things besides mammals even. I guess if you could get attacked by a bird or a lizard or something. But for mammals, what we're going to deal with mostly, especially at night, that's going to screw with them. And again, like Dan was saying, in a parking lot or some kind of crowded situation, flashing a light all around is going to make that bad guy less interested in you as a victim. And you can have a flashlight on in your hand as you're walking to your car, and then you never even become a victim for that guy ever. You never even got on his list because you are too loud and obnoxious in the parking lot. And what's wrong with having a light on the parking lot?
Do we want to, maybe it's not appropriate for this topic, but do we want to just briefly talk about improvised tools, weapons?
I guess you can. I was going to also say those alarms. I don't carry one, but I know people that do carry those little alarms where some sort of either flashlight or pepper spray or something, usually if it's built into something, or I guess just a little device, maybe attached to a bag or a purse or a briefcase or something. But anyway, something you put around your wrist and you can just kind of trigger it by letting go of it basically, or pulling on it, and it puts out one of those blood, like ear-burping type of pulsating noises.
Right.
They're way more than a car horn.
Yeah.
They're like a sonic attack.
I guess depending on how it's activated would determine whether it's something that I would suggest or not, because in those situations you're not going to have any fine motor skills. It's kind of like the panic alarm on your car. It's usually a fairly small button on your key fob.
No, not the things I'm talking about. Things I'm talking about usually just drop it or let go of it. It's more like it's armed until you tell it to turn off, but it's designed for you to just.
Okay.
And then the idea on some of them is to drop it like so that you can't turn it off. Like that guy is leaving you alone because he ain't turning it off. You ain't turning it off. It might not even be around. It might be underneath the car or something now. So, it might be embarrassing or whatever, but who cares? You're alive, and now that guy's learned a lesson about victimhood.
Right.
I think that's all I had. I don't know, Smeggy hasn't said anything. He just carries extra charcoal or a carrot.
Yeah, I just throw snowballs at them. No one wants to get cold and wet.
Anything, Smeg, you think we didn't mention, or maybe has a dual use that you can carry around legitimately? And what I mean by that is like, as an example, if you carry around only a ball-peen hammer, and that's all you carry around, if you get pulled over and an officer asks you about it, you may get questioned about it. Versus if you have a whole set of tools and you're a carpenter, then you won't.
Buzz was saying in the YouTube site earlier about having a lock, a master lock. You could have one of them on your backpack easy enough, like set to the combination or something, so it just pop right open. Or you can drill them so that that it can't close. All they do is kind of close and open, but they can't be locked. And those are handy just to sometimes put on something to kind of show that it's locked. No one's really scrutinized it for the most part, and then you can just like save or keep something reserved, I guess. Anyway, that's kind of thing that you could take off of your backpack pretty simple if you're walking through a parking lot or something. And then I would think any student or anybody who's walking around in an urban situation could explain why you'd have a padlock. Actually, just leaving it on your bag and throwing your bag towards them will give you some weight.
Yep.
All right, well, I guess we're done. Since we're not saying anything else, we'll move on. So it looks like we've solved carrying without a firearm, so you're welcome. We will move on to entertainment, which is top 10 list. I don't know, we got so many top 10 lists in here. Is this just to mess with Smeggy, I guess?
It must be.
But before we do, we like to take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day so that we can feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. And we do this every day. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's going on 4 years now. It's a community focused on firearms, and we're completely membership driven. And every day we like to take a break and feature one of the members over there. Today it's Tony York. Tony, who is one of the consistent members of whatever daytime chat is happening, if it's Jimmy James doing the early watch, or if it's Sean doing his Good Morning Gun Channels, or when Night Strike fills in, or even Angry yesterday. Tony's around. He gets up early on the, well, I guess you guys are in Central Time Zone, so he's one of the morning crew, I'd say, and every once in a while we see him in the evening too, so very active and always participates. Exactly the kind of person we built Gun Channels for, so that he could have a place to hang out and do his thing, and others could come to hang out and chat with him.
Yep, he's a great guy to have along. One of my fellow Illinoisans, whatever we are, Illini. And he's Definitely very knowledgeable and a nice addition to Gun Channels. So, but on
definitely.
that note, okay.
All right. Well, so then we'll
All
go.
right, but before we continue, that's right. It's time for the tactical pop quiz for today. Are you mentally awake, ready to be my assistant today?
Sure. Sorry, I was just reading the question.
Okay.
That's kind of
all
a
right.
quick
So
man.
those of you over on.
Okay, sorry, go ahead. I'm
Okay.
good.
Those of you over on YouTube and those of you over, you stop doing that.
No, okay, go ahead, Dano. It's okay. I'll stop interrupting you now.
You all, those of you listening, know what this is. So go ahead and get ready because here it comes. I will read the question twice. Answer has been provided to Mr. Smeggy. So let's go ahead and roll. This was, of course, sent, as I mentioned yesterday. Angry American has been sending in emails with some questions on it. So I want to go ahead and thank you, Angry, for doing that. And this question came from him. What pistol started World War I? Once again, short but sweet. What pistol started World War I?
There we
Listen
go.
to all
On
those
the
answers
YouTube
coming
side.
in.
We have an answer.
Yeah. On the YouTube side.
Okay. The correct answer is Browning FN Model 1910. And on the YouTube side, who was our winner for today?
Well, I saw Jimmy James saying FN M1910, but then right after that, Mel said Browning FN Model 1910. So I don't know if one of them was
I'm
more
happy
exact.
with M1910.
Okay, then Jimmy James.
All right, Jimmy James, congratulations. You are today's tactical pop quiz winner. We are keeping a list of winners for bragging rights. So head on over to dailygunshow.com/pop quiz, fill out the form, and congratulations, Jimmy.
So I'm just looking at that gun. It's an FN model 1910, and it says it is 9mm by 17 Browning. What is that? Is that macro?
That's kind of a hybrid between a couple different calibers.
But I think it's interesting to see that a 9mm started World War.
Yep.
Well, I'm guessing that was the handgun that assassinated the one dude that then got everyone all pissed off about it.
Archduke Ferdinand III.
Yeah, there you go. So,
is it possible? Because
yes, I thought it was appropriate because yesterday was the anniversary of the invasion of Normandy, and so I thought today we would do a little World War I thing. Again, thank you, Angry American. So those of you out there that would like to help us out with the tactical pop quiz, please send your questions, answers, and a reference to the answer to @gmail.com.
okay.
or
For people who didn't catch that, possibly it was just me, but it's dailygunshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, you
if
need to do as I say, not as I do, or however that goes.
I don't know. You just kind of stopped talking for a minute and said @Gmail. I was like, oh, okay. So, anyways, if I go back,
Mike must have cut out.
Jimmy James there.
Well, I thought I did the Daily Gun Channels one by mistake.
No, we didn't hear anything. So,
Oh,
Jimmy James on YouTube for having the correct answer.
woohoo!
That makes you the tactical of the day.
All right.
So congratulations, Jimmy.
And I just want to bring this up since we were talking World War One. I posted it over on the main page of Gun Channels the other day, I think, possibly today. I don't remember. There is an excellent set of podcasts by Dan Carlin. He's, I don't know, I guess he's kind of like an historian or something, but he doesn't call himself one. But he does this thing called Hardcore History. And there is a set of podcasts that's about World War One that, holy crap, is the most like detailed and takes a look at it from all these different angles. And every podcast is like 3 or 4 hours long. And I think the World War One is like 5 or 6 podcasts. I mean, it's like over 20 hours worth of podcasts. It's basically as if you were listening to like a gigantic audiobook or something. But I am super digging it. I'm like halfway through. And so I just found that interesting. If you're interested in World War One or whatever, it's a great thing to look up. Just look up Dan Carlin. He has apparently like tons of podcasts, but only a handful of them out on the YouTube. I think you can buy the other ones, which I'm planning on actually doing here. He sells them as like a whole giant set. You can like download them all at once. But I really enjoy his way of telling stories. So check that out. Like I said, there's a link on the main page of Gun Channels.
Before we continue, there's something I want to do, a correction on page number 4 in your handouts for today. Is yesterday under tactical tidbits for gunfighting rules, I realized afterwards that I made a mistake, and that I made it number 16 when in fact it should have been a number 15, and 15 should have been yesterday. So I'm just going to go ahead and for this moment make number 15 today's, and then next time we do it we'll move on to 17. And so tactical tidbit number 15, your number one option for personal security is a lifelong commitment to avoidance, deterrence, and de-escalation. And that's as a good example of that I think of as earlier, G-Webs, you were talking about using your mind, concealed carrying without a pistol. And that's all about that. De-escalation, that's being able to use your mind towards manipulating the situation to get yourself out of it so there is no situation. That is far better of an outcome than ever having to fight. So that is tactical tidbits for today, now that I've got us back on track.
Yeah.
So, but tomorrow will be number 17, then we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back with a new subject matter for tactical response fighting pistol tidbits. Tactical tidbits.
You give us some feedback on that stuff. We watch the comments that are coming in live, of course, but we know people are listening to the show by the hundreds after the show airs. So give us some feedback. Leave us something in the comments. Email us, dailygunshow@gmail.com. Always good to know what people are thinking. So let's see. We're going to go ahead on, I suppose, into this. I'm going to do the gun shop of the day. So we have a gun shop sent in by Rick, our friend over on Gun Channels, who does a show on Saturdays called Rick's Life as I See It. And his YouTube channel and his efforts for creating content out there. Oh, looks like we got Bob coming. And he sent us in a shop that I am in the middle of screen sharing here, called Black Fox Guns and Ammo. Rick lives in Rhode Island, so I'm guessing if we go to this contact us. Yep, they're in Rhode Island. So must be interesting. This seems interesting to me to be in a gun shop in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
A family-owned business, enthusiasts for all kinds of things. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Dano?
Oh, I was just going to say, Rick is one of the people that have helped us out on the show in numerous aspects by sending in ideas, suggestions to our email address at dailygunshow@gmail.com. So if you have, whether it be a gun shop or anything else on any of our other segments, or just general comments, please send them in. Well, I saw a table in the corner, so we're doing okay. Got a place to sit down.
Uh-oh, there is.
There's a couple tables. There's one in the foreground also. That's more like a dining room table.
But
yes, there is.
That's interesting. You don't really see enough tables for older folks who are going to be filling out a 4473. So I think the cooler shops do have some place for old people, or maybe if you're, I don't know, just dealing with a lot of crap and you want to sit down and do your 4473. I think that's kind of cool. So I don't know if that's
right.
for this table, if that's for shooting the shit up there. It definitely looks like a table that's meant for people sitting around it. It looks like it's maybe in a storefront. I don't know. Do we see a picture of the front at all? I guess not.
It hasn't shown the outside, no.
But just from the looks of it, doesn't look like an old house or something. It looks like it's a little storefront.
It does look like part of a mall.
You can park there and hang out. And then that's always nice, again, if you've got to wait around for, let's say you're a regular. You should always be a regular, at least 1 or 2 gun shops in your town if you can. And then if you're one of those regulars, they'll know, like, that you don't care. You can just sit there all day and they don't mind. And so if they're dealing with somebody who isn't a regular, if you can just sit there and occupy yourself, that doesn't make that other customer feel like they're, taking your time, and gives you time to experience shop, just hang out. And I think that's kind of, I can understand why shops don't do it. It takes a lot of room. It encourages people to sit around there yakking. So don't abuse it. Don't sit around. And if people are sitting around being jerks, then, maybe that's time to get up and shop around.
That's like the one little shop that I went to in Indiana. I was there and I was just in there checking it out. I think we featured it before, but like this other guy came in as I was just kind of looking, and he brought his McDonald's in and he sat down at the counter. Like they had a little bar stool probably for someone sitting down to do 4473 or whatever. But he's sitting there on the glass, unwrapping his Egg McMuffin, setting his coffee right there, and just sitting there talking to the dude. And I mean, he was fine. He was nice enough or whatever, but I kind of wanted to talk to people working, because I was trying to tell them about the Daily Gun Show and all that kind of stuff. And because of that, I was just like, yeah, whatever. You're busy talking to your regular here. So I just kind of split out. So just be mindful when you're shooting the breeze with your buddies that you might be alienating some customer that doesn't want to interrupt your conversation. But since you guys are just talking about random stuff, and going back to this store here, it looks kind of small, but it seemed like it had stuff, but it looked like it only had those like 3 or 4 little glass cabinets. And that little thing on the side.
Yeah, I'm guessing. It looks though that they just moved from the same building just down on the first floor. So I don't know if they were temporarily on the second floor or what. But it on their contact page, it says that it's not contact, the About Us page. It says that they were a father and son-in-law, and I guess I thought it said it was 5 years. I don't know where I saw 5 years, but I don't know how long they've been there. But anyway, it's father and a son-in-law. It's kind of interesting.
Well, that's good if you have that good relationship going.
Yeah.
Sometimes in-laws, you might not want to work with them every day.
Well, anyway, it's a cool shop. Thanks, Rick, for sending it in. If you've got a shop you've experienced that you think is cool, shop that you visit frequently, or one that you just saw on a vacation or something, send it in. Our email is dailygunshow@gmail.com. We encourage you to remember that every time you go into a gun shop, you probably got your phone, and that means you probably got a pretty nice camera. I can tell you from my experience, I rarely go into a gun shop where I don't take pictures. I don't ask them, hey, is it okay if I take pictures? And then I take pictures. And then share those on social media. There's all kinds of reasons. We talked about it lots of times. Listen to one of our Monday shows. I'll go on and on about how I think it's such a great idea for people to share their local gun shops. And we think it's such a great idea. We feature a new gun shop every single day. And with your help, we'll be able to keep doing that. So you don't have to pay nothing except go to a gun shop, ask them if it's okay to take a couple of pictures. Do so. post those pictures on gun channels or Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is you like to play around online, and then send some links back to that gun shop to help them out. You never know. You do some effort like that because we're asking you to. You might find out the next time you go into the shop, they are happy because they say, hey, didn't you ask about taking some pictures? Like, we got 3 new customers because of that. Tell us more about that. And now you've got some kind of situation like Yankee or something, where you've got a shop that's letting you take guns out, or like Travis has, where you can take guns out from the guy's collection or the back room or something, and get some extra content for your video channels or your Instagram or whatever it might be. So anyhow, take advantage of our daily focus on gun shops and help us out and profit. Hey, we got Bob joining us. Where you at, Bob?
Actually at Pike Lake Provincial Campground, which is why I'm having a little internet issues, but I got it running, kinda. Sorry I'm late though.
No worries. I'm not familiar with that. Is that a prison? Did they catch you?
No, it's a provincial park, you know, with a lake and trees and.
So is that like a halfway house?
Yeah,
That sounds like a Canadian prison. I feel like their prisoners were a little fishing pond, and you know, they'd get outdoor time.
Yeah, no. But no, it's a nice little provincial park. It's you know, not much of a lake, just kind of like a chunk of a river got cut off and they call it a lake now. But yeah, all right.
Is this you're on vacation or something, or you're going somewhere, or what's the...
I had to go see my doctor, so this is close to the city. So that way it's a place to stay and kind of enjoy camping while at the same time being able to go get my doctor's appointments and shit like that. So works out.
I've seen some things about the Canadian medical stuff, so I imagine having a nice calm environment for afterwards to recuperate would be good, would be pleasant. Get your mind up.
Those prostate exams aren't any fun.
Well, that might have been a little too much information, but I was going to say after your checkup, you know, when they realize there's no saving you, they might just like put you on a raft and push you out in the middle of the lake.
Now, even I can say that's one tidbit too many.
The tidbits, though, I did go to Tim Hortons and got a great big box of Timbits. Tasty. All just plain cake donuts.
At least cake donuts and not the whatever that other the French donut is or whatever it is. Anyway, so good to hear Bob's still kicking and back for most of the show still. So we're getting into entertainment, I guess. Might as well do it, even though Smeggy hates it. Now we got Bob to help water it down for him, so maybe he'll participate. We got top 10 most commonly used guns in movies. Now, I'm only going to assume nobody went out and got a top 10 list.
I certainly did not prepare a top 10 list.
You would be absolutely correct. This is not NEA.
So let's see. I keep all of my ones, but we didn't ever do one on this. So I guess we'll just go with the general audience consensus, and then we'll be the judges. So it'll be like a Shark Tank. They'll bring the potentially most commonly used gun in a movie to us in the comments, and we will decide if it makes our list or not. How about that?
And Smeggy will keep track. And the first entry from Matt is Glock.
Oh, I don't know. Because they haven't been around that long.
Haven't been around that long.
No.
It's not about companies that have been around a long time.
Well, no, but I mean, movies have been around a whole lot longer than Glocks have.
Commonly used movies. That doesn't say commonly used old movies.
Yeah, it says movies. That includes all of them, Dano, not just the ones you've seen, which would be, what, 10?
So anyway, Matt suggested Glock. I didn't say it. Matt did.
Okay,
so
probably. And I disagree.
Beating up on our viewers, Bob.
I'm just disagreeing.
Are you saying, though, Bob, that in the top 10 movie guns, you don't even think Glock has a a place in the top 10.
I don't think so.
Huh, that's what you get.
Have you been dipping into your medication again?
Complete, unabashed bias. So, anyway, we do got Glock coming in. I'm going to put that on my list. I don't know about Smeggy, or it sounds like Dano's in with it. We got a whole bunch coming in from Pants, AKM, M16, the Beretta 92. That's it then. And then a bunch of Glocks. So here's one for Bob. Colt single actions coming.
The 1911 family. That covers a lot of guns.
Single action's got to be number one on the list, I think.
It's definitely been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, since they first made one.
I wouldn't go that far because movies started getting made when there was still stuff going on. They had movies about policemen and all that. Those comedies, right? Weren't those some of the first movies? I don't think.
Yeah. But Western was one of the first movies.
I know they were, but I'm just saying. I'm thinking those cops might be. But I don't know if the cops even had guns. They might have just had billy clubs back then.
They just had billy clubs, yeah.
So I don't know.
That's all they ever did.
There might be something out there that says what the first gun in a movie is. Maybe the Infidaba has that. I like John's suggestion of the 38 snub nose. Every cop from before Glocks, that's what detectives had. Cops would have a big revolver, probably Smith & Wesson Model 10 or something. And then everybody else, all the detectives would have, or all their ankle guns were little 38 snub nose.
Yeah.
And like the detectives or stuff like that, wouldn't they typically carry some sort of small semi-automatic?
No, they carried
movies not that I've seen. I mean, now, not even now, really. Nowadays, it seems like when you watch CSI or some movie like that, they always got to put the biggest obnoxious, stupid Smith & Wesson or standard size Glock or something on a chick's hip.
Right.
Like if she's
when
really.
I think of movies from the 1920s, the 1930s, the detectives of the day, whether it be Sam Spade or somebody else, I mean, you always had some sort of small. You never knew what caliber it was, but something like a 32 ACP or something like that, or BB, was it PPK or
white detective movies, I guess. But just as often you see a big ass revolver, big ass Wedley, or even a little snub nose revolver.
Right, for a police detective, yes.
Well,
I guess I was thinking private detective.
Well,
yeah, the bad guys used to use the semi-autos, the little Saturday Night Special type guns.
Otherwise, though, we're getting Winchester lever action. I'm putting that on my list.
Yep.
We got pump shotguns. I'll reluctantly put that on the list. Although I only really have room for 2 shotguns, I guess. So I guess pump shotgun and double barrel.
Yep.
Yeah, for a stagecoach gun.
Yeah, or just there's so many movies where somebody grabs the stupid double barrel with a 40-inch long barrel, and they're wheeling it clumsily out the front door, and it either gets taken or they forget the bullets or whatever weird thing happens.
Yeah.
But
when I think Westerns, I think of the stagecoach shotgun, the lever action rifle, and then some sort of single action revolver.
Well, we're seeing 2 things out here: Smith & Wesson, like Dirty Harry, and then we're seeing Smith & Wesson 45, which I can only assume that means the Miami Vice 1980s Smith & Wessons or whatever. And I don't know. Do you guys think those are common enough in movies to be on the list?
Well, the Smiths were out there, but only for a brief period of time. And again, I did mention the 1911 family as one of the categories, in which they're all.
No, but
those are
1911 ain't the 1980s Smith & Wesson. Those big goofy looking Smith & Wessons that definitely did not look like a 1911. They have their sights way up in the air, huge bore axes, some kind of white grips on them half the time, made out of aluminum.
Is anybody saying Luger?
No, that would be a good one though.
Well, yeah, it's the bad guy
World War
in
II.
all 4 movies. Yeah. All of World War II, the bad Nazis always had those.
Jimmy James threw AK variants out there since they're in almost every movie except westerns, which is true. Even anytime there's a bad guy since the 70s, almost really 80s for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody said that John said somebody said that did say Luger, but then I'm just gonna say all Nazi guns because I don't care much about them. So that with the whatever that gun is always used.
P-38 or the Smasher MP-40.
Yeah, the MP-40 is I think what I was thinking of. But yeah, you know, all those little guns. Those are definitely in a lot of movies, along with all the World War II accompanying ARC guns, right? Garand and carbines. We should try to do this with maybe just which is the most. I guess it wouldn't work because we don't have enough people who've seen the movies. But which do you think was the most common of World War II? Of the World War II movies, which was the most common gun used? I'm going to say Garand, but I think it could be a Garand or carbine, really. Unless it could be 1911.
Thompson was really popular with any of the movies. You always saw the good guy out of Thompson.
That's true. Even if it would have been completely unrealistic, sometimes they were like, "Oh, that's an iconic gun. Throw that in their hand."
Yeah.
Derringer. That's an interesting one. You do see a lot of Derringers, even though they don't necessarily pivot the movie around them or anything.
That's true.
World War II, I'd have to go with Garand or the carbine.
But no 1911, because there's 1911s in like
Well,
you know, like
because
romantic movies.
even in the movies, they'd be outnumbered by soldiers versus officers. Officers had the 45s.
Yeah, for number of. I was just thinking like love stories and detective stories. There's going to be 1911s in where they wouldn't have a rifle at all. But yeah, there's more rifles in one D-Day movie than 700 detective stories.
Yeah. Well, I think we got 10 then, don't we?
Probably do. We'll have to assume Smeggy's still calculating.
Yeah.
I typed all the stuff down, but I don't really know how to figure out what gets on the list or whatever.
Well,
I was trying to kind of keep track when you guys were like, "Oh, that's a good one," yeah, or no, or whatever. But
how many do you have right now?
I wrote down 12 different things. I think I missed a few.
Okay, so go ahead and read back to us the list, and we'll see if there's anything we think should be knocked off.
Yes, thank you for calculating that for me, G-Webs. Glock, AKs, M16, Beretta 92, single action, 1911, 38 snub nose, lever action, pump shotgun, double barrel, Smith & Wesson, and Luger.
All right, I think
the Smith could probably come off.
yeah, I think we could lose a Smith.
What Smith? Yeah, you don't need no Smith & Wessons. I mean, Smith & Wessons were definitely in movies for a few years. I don't know if they did a good package with prop people or something. When I read the book about Glock, the Glock America's Gun book, he talks about Glock in movies, and that book is really just about guns in America and just kind of revolves around the Glock, but it talks about a lot of other stuff. And he did mention that the people that supplied the prop people for guns in movies before Glock came around, they didn't see it as a top priority or nothing, and they put all kinds of stipulations on, like, okay, you can use our gun. We're not going to give it to you. We'll sell it to you, maybe at a discount, or you got to give it back. And then we don't want any bad guys using our gun. So I think one of the reasons we see so many bad guys using Nazi guns and shit is because nobody could go, you know, that's my brand, don't use it on a bad guy. So Glock was one of the things does not care. And
it's
then,
ironic being one of the first, not the first, but one of the first most iconic movies where the Glock was used by the bad guy in Nakatomi Towers with Mr. John Willis.
well, that's sort of unique about the Glock. They came in and they said, we don't care about that. Go ahead, give the bad guy all Glocks. That's great. We just want our name out there. Like, we don't care. Use them. And then they gave them to him. They said, you know, you don't have to pay for them here. And that changed things around. And then all the other companies were like, oh shit, I guess screen time is better than some perceived reputation, you know, through the fantasy of a movie or whatever. Although I suppose, well, there's nothing you can do. People like it or not, they think crime guns are crime guns. They think Saturday Night Specials are crime guns. If you look, though, it's Colt 1911s and Smith & Wesson Model 10s and J-frames. It's just the most common guns out there are the most common crime guns.
Yep. Good point.
All right, well, so I don't know. We talk about topics like this, not to solve them, although usually we end up solving them, but we talk about them so just to kind of stir things up. If you're creating content out there, which we encourage you to do, then this gives you some ideas, something to start up a conversation about in one of the lobby chats. So feel free. If you're shaking your fists at us because we missed a perfect gun, like the Desert Eagle or something, then write us an email, and we can always address one of these topics again in the future. In fact, we get together on the second Saturday of every month with our Patreon supporters. So that'll be this Saturday. It's coming up again on the 10th. And we'll get together at the old show time, right? We get together at the old show time, which was noon Arizona. So 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And we sit around for a couple hours with no schedule or format or whatever we call this for the show. We just go through and fill out the schedule for the next 30 days or so. So if you're a Patreon supporter, you're more than welcome. You'll get a link that Saturday morning on the 10th. Or if you'd like to participate, consider jumping into Patreon. And then as a member of Patreon, you'll have a link there. We talk about Patreon every once in a while. If we are street performers, then the Patreon is our hat. We don't extort any money from you. We don't have anybody paying out. Nobody else is paying for the show. We do the show because we enjoy it. We do the show because we think it's important to have something out there that isn't led by the mass media agenda of what's news of the day. We like to talk about guns. We like to promote Gun Channels, a place that we all met and hang out. And we like to make our show for our audience. So that's really our goal. And Patreon allows us to do that. It's a vehicle to let us do that. So as a listener to the show who wants to participate and see the show grow, you can go over to Patreon. You can sign up with, I think, an email and probably some kind of credit card information, and very much like any of the other online payment things. It's 6.4 million people use Patreon, so I don't think you have much to worry about as far as the platform itself. And then you can participate with the show at a couple of different levels. We'll talk about that sometime in more detail. But then as a Patreon supporter, you agree that at the end of the month, when time comes for us or for the system to collect all the dues, because we just do it monthly, it will, I think it sends you guys out an alert, right? It says, how did you like the show? Cancel your subscription or let it go through. Its default is to let it go through, and then you pay. So you don't have to do anything, but if you ever want to, you can tell it to stop. These guys suck now. I'm sick of paying for this show. The fame is all gone to their heads. That Bob doesn't even show up on time anymore. So then you can cancel your subscription. So it's not something that we extort. It's not something that we're deceiving. It's just something that's out there that allows us to use crowdfunding, which is the idea that an audience, it could be hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, or 15 people. And if each of those people put in $1, then that gives a project like this some resources. Money's power. That gives us power. That gives us time. That gives us ability to put more effort into the show. So all of us are willing to do that. None of us are, have a dire need for that. I don't think. We're all having a pretty good time with it. It's not demanding too much of us, but we could definitely use the resources to grow. So we always want to throw that out there. And as a way of saying thanks to those people that are participating on Patreon, we do things like the Saturday morning schedule show. So that brought us right back to that. And
yeah, and that does kind of walk all over Rick's life as I see it. So I don't know if we want to consider changing the time or if we just let him stew in his anger, because he yells at us but then says LOL, so I'm not sure.
Oh, no, that's good. In fact, I'm glad Rick is out there with a set of cojones, because we work Andalusia Armory yesterdays, right? Every Tuesday, we're stepping right on top of Andalusia Armory, and on Saturdays now, we're stepping on top of Rick. Thank you, Rick, for being an alternative. We suck. We're not all that great. I mean, we only get $80 a month. We obviously are not doing as well as many, many other shows out there. We're not providing what people want. So we don't have any delusions that we're the only thing out there worth listening to. We built Gun Channels so that people have a place to communicate, not so that they can hear us and communicate with us. So I'm glad that Rick's out there doing a show at the actual same time. So that gives you something else to listen to. Rick is out in Rhode Island. He's our member of the day the other day, right? He's out in Rhode Island, does his own show. He participates in gun channels quite a bit. So yeah, you have a great alternative to listen to on Saturday if you have no interest in what we're doing as far as scheduling, and if you're not a Patreon, so you couldn't even get in if you wanted to. So I do appreciate that, Rick, that it's frustrating, and I guess sorry about that to some extent, but on the other hand, thank you very much, because really I didn't build gun channels to have one thing at a time. It's not a radio station that plays one show at a time. We're a platform. So honestly, I really would much rather have 3 or 4 options 24/7. The place is definitely large enough to do that. It's supported by its members, and it's large enough to do that. Tomorrow we could have 12 simultaneous shows going at the same time. It wouldn't cost $1 more. We have a huge platform there that we're not taking advantage of. So Rick, thank you for being part of the beginning of that growth.
You know, we have always on gun channels tried to promote that, you know, just because someone's using a certain time slot, we don't just have one slot. We can have as many slots as people want to do, and if they want to do one at the same time that somebody else is running a show, by all means go ahead. No harm, no foul. It's actually encouraged. If that's when you want to do it, then go ahead and do it. You know, it's just like
what Dano said.
It's nice, you know, as a viewer. It's nice having more than one station to listen to.
Definitely. So that'll take us over to another topic, and I can close this one. So then let's see. We already talked about. Oh, Smeggy, you up for doing a hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown?
Certainly.
Since we didn't do it yesterday, we were screwed up on time yesterday anyway. And then you weren't here, so we figured we'd shove it off till today. So I'm just going to screw around with my screens a little bit here, and we'll bring up the Instagrams. Unless somebody else wants to. But there's my
I like when you do it. You do such a good job with it.
So I will bring up. Oh, no, can't get this thing down. There we go. Go to the Instagram. And then we go to the top of Instagram, either on a computer or on your phone app, and you type in Daily Gun Show. Now, we do have a @Daily Gun Show. @ takes you to the channel. Hashtag is just a hashtag, which just ties together any number of posts that happen to use the hashtag. We happen to be at 425 posts. And
oh, I just thought of a really good idea.
Well, we were at 3.
What if the @Daily Gun Show reposted the hashtag winner?
Yeah, we can. Daily Gun Show can repost the winner, sure.
Then you could repost it. I've been using hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown or whatever, and then you could use that, and that would then if you wanted to see all the winners all at once, you could go like whatever. Anyways. I think we should do that, so then that way your picture gets seen by even more people if you win. Oh, it was an incomplete thought, Bob. Don't laugh at me, but I think I'm on the right track.
You do that all the time.
I meant what I knew.
All right, so we had 495 this time, and it looks like we had 425 this time. Last week we had 387, so we're talking like 43, 48 posts. That's quite a bit. Am I doing my math right? So if we go down most recent, I've already picked a winner, so we can go through this as technical formality or whatever, but I don't remember. Was this? We saw these ones last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
So it's probably not collecting them all for whatever reason. I don't remember if it collected.
I think people might add it like later, and then so they show up like, you know, further down or whatever.
These have hearts on them, and I don't heart them ever, aside from this. So okay, so I'm gonna start with this one then. Arctic. That's a nice one. It's got the show and everything there. It's pretty sweet, and it's a nice little 357.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I wouldn't want to
That's
shoot.
nice looking little. Oh, I would.
It's a nice one. What's weird is you had to walk all the way down this road and then up to get the picture. It's a lot of work.
That's dedication.
So is that same gun? No, this is an MP.
With the original grips.
Look at it, it's got a little piece of extra metal here. That must be a lightweight frame, so don't cut. I should be liking this one. So still wouldn't want to shoot that one. Is that same picture? What are we getting? Double picked? Again, we just got double picked.
Oh man.
Weapons promo. Somebody's reposting Chris, so I guess that's good. But this is the one that would win of the two because it's actually Chris, not a repost. But whose weapons promo? Does anybody know?
Nope.
31,000 followers. Us. Weapons promo. Us. Curator of badass weapons. No drama, no selfies, just pure badassery. Bad black dude with a gun tag. Weapons promo. I like
I think
repost.
that means he's a black guy with a gun who reposts.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that because reposters always have their own, flavor or interest or whatever you want to say, like their own taste. So always interesting to see because a reposter is basically doing an interesting job. They're going out and filtering the staggeringly huge number of photos that are out on Instagram and that happen every moment, and they're picking the ones that are of their taste, their style, right? So I like looking at some of the reposters. Now, some of them I just don't agree with. I think they look at crap or whatever, so I know right away. But I think it's definitely worth. Don't just write them off because they're reposters. Some of them are really providing a neat service. There's Dog Body. I like that gun. But 5.5. I kind of want one of them. Maybe I'll get rid of my AR. Traded in one of them. This is Pink's trading cards. And Pink's SPD. This seems like we definitely saw some of these, or maybe I just did go in and like some of these. So there's Smeggy's. Were you trying to make a little dude? Looks kind of like the DRI dude sideways.
I don't know. Everybody thought it was a.
I was trying to play dominoes, so I just found numbers that lined up with each other and made it all like weird or whatever.
Issues. You're saying blank is like a wild card? It can be anything?
Yeah.
All right, so then why did you turn this one this way? You just do that for no reason?
Just so it would stay on the picture. Yeah, I was just making a weird shape.
And then you can just...
I know, I took some artistic liberties, bro.
You can just stack next to a domino like this? Is that a thing?
I don't think you can, but I did it anyways. Because
All right.
they were all twos.
All right.
I think he's trying to make a Nazi symbol, and he just doesn't
screw
want
you, Bob. I'll say that's the same thing that the other guy said. Screw you. That has nothing to do with it. It's just freaking little arms that go off.
Yeah, looks like our DRI guy more than that anyway. So then, Jimmy James, a 40. We need to get Jimmy a 40 guy patch up there.
Oh,
This 45.
A WD-40 patch?
No, we need to. This is a 45 though, so it sounds like we need to get a Moon or somebody to get us a 45 AARP already. Now I don't know about this one. There's no mag in it. I don't know if I go for pictures without mags in them.
yeah.
Maybe it's a flush fit mag.
What?
Maybe it's
This
a flush
is
fit
really-
mag.
Maybe a flush fit.
Oh no, you would say that if you didn't look at the picture, but you can see there's a little obvious scallop there where the mag would.
Okay.
So then I think this is a great picture. Look at that. There's a dog in it. There's a gun in it. Every second matters. And the donuts, because every second matters this year was on National Donut Day. Yeah, Bob don't care.
Yeah, that
Everybody else is pretty
that definitely has some major bonus points.
Yeah, there was thought went into that.
Oh yeah.
Way different than Smeggy's post.
And then we got this one. It's pretty interesting. One of these is illegal in California and New York. One is not. I like that.
Because one only holds.
There's Moon. Actually, they can, in New York, one can hold 10, right? It's just you can only load it with 7, or is that the way it still is? Another good one. Looks like he, I guess he probably won the
Tactical quiz.
Yeah. It's like if only I wrote it on the paper. Yes. Do you think he takes like 8 guns with on a walk and takes a bunch of pictures, or he just takes a different gun every day and he walks every day?
Well, I hope so. He'd be in damn good shape by now.
Look at all of these are pretty good with their whatever, but then this one, muzzle's pointing this way. That's dangerous.
Oh yeah,
It's a stapled gun.
yeah.
So anyway, that looks like a pretty fun
That
day.
looks like a fun range day, though.
It does, doesn't it?
Mostly old stuff, couple modern things. Good to go.
This looks like he's really trying to win it. He's putting a little something extra. This is obviously a very sharp rock. It's like a rock blade, and he's balancing his trigger guard on that rock blade. That's going a little bit extra.
Over top of water. Well, thank God it's a stainless steel gun. If it falls in, it'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, I guess, but as far as rust, but think about all the nicks and dinks it would get falling down off that rock into that water.
Yeah, but maybe he's not like Yankee. Maybe that wouldn't drive him crazy if he's got a few dings and dents in his gun. It's kind of normal. For most.
Now, what do you think about frogs concealed carrying? Is that a good idea, bad idea? What generation? What generation Glock is this?
Why has it got rubber bands on it? Is he like that gunfighter with the rubber bands all over his Colt Python?
It's like a Gen 1.
No.
I have no idea. I hope you're not waiting for me to answer.
It's got no accessory rail.
Oh, snap. Is this an answer ambush?
No, we don't have that kind of money. But it has a song from it. It has no accessory rail. It has texture, yet it has no finger grooves.
Is that a 2?
Gen 2. Gen 2. If the stupid frog wasn't covering his foot over there, then we would see the pins, and we would know even more that it's a Gen 1 or 2.
So is that what the rubber bands are for, though? Is kind of make like homemade finger grooves kind of thing?
The one that has almost a groove between it, you're saying?
That you can put your fingers in?
Mm-hmm. No, Bob would say it's to hold the plastic gun together.
Well, that probably is also true.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's true.
So either some frog came along and said, hey, let me see that Glock. Or he just found a frog, I guess. Maybe as a pet frog. Anyway, I like that one. I don't think I've ever seen a frog in a gun like that one.
Actually, that is kind of interesting. Yeah, putting a frog on your Glock, although it'd be slimy after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to hold my frog after that either.
So this is Jimmy James doing a service for everyone. He's got a 45 AARP next to the Glock 19.
Not quite.
Excuse me, it's
Bob next to a 45.
Then we got another one from Arctic with the Smith.
This is that's nice.
The 357 and the 44 frame. But you get those extra shots, right? 8 shots. Pretty nice.
Yeah, but
He grabbed Everyday
pretty
Civilian.
nice.
This was one I got from Everyday Civilian. He's a photographer, and met him up at SHOT Show with Mil Spec Monkey and Tactical Photographer, and he grabbed me a few of them for the patch panel. So I think that might have been the first one to go out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another one from Chris. Now, although he is out in like some sort of picturesque environment, he decided to take this picture pointing back into the bed of his truck or something.
Yeah, it was nicely diamond plated, you know. The truck
Do we even need to do any more? This is the winner.
I think this one's awesome.
It's every different calibers. It's freaking excellent. It's the winner. Done. We don't even have to do this segment anymore. We just have a new winner, permanent winner.
No, there are some other pictures.
All right, fine. Go look at Daniel's picture.
That is good, though. Yeah.
That's
I
a
like
good
the,
one. Winning the quiz. Got
I like the
got some
Ace of
patches there.
Spades.
I like the Grim Reaper.
You probably met him a few times, Daniel.
Not as often as you.
Not not that bad a guy if it's not your time. Just when he offers to shake your hand, just go, nah.
What's next?
I think she was. Oh, okay. He's moving around. So
Yeah.
I think he's distracted for a second.
You got a chat there. So this was one of the patches from Century, I think.
Yeah.
Pink. And then there's Pink's knife.
Speaking of Pink, yeah, that was pretty darn cool. I guess he had an older knife. I was actually there when part of this happened. So he went over to the Benchmade booth at NRA. You know, they do like knife sharpening and stuff, like for whatever. You just take your Benchmade and they'll sharpen it up for you, and they'll also do repairs on it. Like I think for like forever, or for at least the life of you or something. But anyways, he went there and they couldn't fix. He had the liner lock or the spring or something was goofed up. And because it was an older knife, they didn't have the parts. They decided to give him the value of that knife towards this one, and they engraved that stuff on it or whatever. I guess that's pretty awesome.
Oh shit! Yeah, I gotta go to the Gerber booth next year.
I don't know if Gerber offers the same thing that Benchmade does, but sure.
Benchmade does. Hey, guess what they're doing over at the Benchmade booth? You'll never guess.
Look, it's right next door.
No,
I don't know. They might do that kind of thing at Blade Show or something too. I just know definitely at NRA Show there was like a line of people, and you got to drop that thing off like the first day right at the beginning. You drop it off, they take your name or whatever, and then they sharpen it up, and you swing back by like the next day or later that day, pick it up.
Another one from Chris that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And then I think this is where we started with.
Yeah, that was the first one.
So he's got a 511 light, couple of fixed blades, and that 45 G30. I wanted to get a G30 to match the van.
So I'm a little conflicted this week. I really, really am.
I know, and I know I can't win, but I know I submitted a picture. But I don't see it. Unless somebody skipped over it.
I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Is it this one?
Oh, that's one of them.
So then this one?
And that one. And there should be two of them there.
Basically, when something is recent but is also like trending or whatever it is on the top, like most popular, then it doesn't show up in the recent thing. But then the other ones in the most popular were old as hell. One of them was from April or whatever.
Yeah. Because one was with the birdcage, the other one was with the projector.
Well, you should be happy because you're like all the way at the top. You're even more so than the regular most recent.
Yeah.
You're popular.
Well, like I said, I know I can't win. I just want to see it how it looks like on the screen.
Who says you can't win? I post pictures all the time expecting to win.
Oh, well, you can't win. So anyway, this week.
That's what I tell myself.
I can win if I want.
So I don't feel as bad when I lose.
Do we need to even go any?
Yes, that's what I was trying to get at before. I'm conflicted because I really like that Every Second Matters with the National Donut Day and stuff, but this picture, the Daily Gun Show with the bullets, is super, super awesome.
And there's only one.
Almost want to give a runner-up thing, you know?
No, we
and
don't.
There's only one variation of the bullets. Is that correct?
What did you say, Daniel?
There's only one variation of the bullets.
I don't know. No. I don't know what you mean. There's like 8 different kind of bullets in here. Almost every letter is a different kind of bullet.
No, I mean there's only one picture that with bullets spells out Daily Gun Show.
That's all I've seen. Did somebody see another one?
Okay. Nope. Well, I wasn't sure because we went through them so slowly. I couldn't lost track.
Oh, sorry. I got a text there I was looking at. So, I don't know. I'm scrolling back and forth through them. Well, Bob, what are you voting for?
Boy, I'm torn too about the donuts and the Daily Gun Show, but I'm going to go the Daily Gun Show spelled out in bullets just because that was a lot of work. A lot of thought went into the donut one, but the bullet.
And it's got a chocolate donut, but we know that Bob is going to give it down vote because of the chocolate sprinkles.
It's got sprinkles on it, okay? Who wants to eat little candy things? Yuck.
And then, where's Dano at?
Food.
Me?
Yeah.
If you look at the bullet ones, I'm going to say the time it took to show the contrast between the colors of the different bullets, I'm going to say that one because it did take a lot of forethought as far as the color, the contrast, the different bullets for the different letters. I really like it.
I got to go get my W.
And that's yeah, I'm gonna for the time it took Dano to explain that he likes the Daily Gun Show with the bullets, I'm also going to like that. But Angry, you're like super close. I wish we gave second place prizes or whatever, but we don't. But you were super close with the Every Second Matters and the donuts and the dog and all that.
Really
and I know you do a lot of work for Every Second Matters, and you always hang out with us every day and stuff. So I just want to at least give him the shout out. He gets a runner-up. Congratulations. But yeah, Matt freaking killed it with all the different bullets and stuff. That stands out like crazy. And having the patch for the O.
I just figured out something else I can do. We should make like a hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown badge over on the gun channels. Pretty much all the winners have been gun channels.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, so cool. So we try to do this once a week. We got 425 in here this week. Let's see if we can get it to 1,400 next week. So start tagging your pictures, and we'll be happy to show them off. Oh, we missed Hash's one there too. She was at Quest last Friday, and she did a hashtag Daily Gun Show as well, which is pretty cool since her channel has 153,000 subs. It's always cool to get mentioned on a big channel. All right, with that, I think we can move along to. Did that? We did.
Did you mark down the 425 for next week?
I did next week.
Okay.
There, and then because that's the trick. Otherwise, we don't have to look for it. It's already there for next week. I think we can do gun of the day. Am I still screen sharing?
Yep.
All right, good. Oh, listen to this music. How old is this? 2009. This was free music back in 2009. And this is how I used to do videos when I first started because
it used to be free. Now it's just irritating.
Oh, it's always been irritating. But this is a Kimber Warrior. So we were talking about Kimbers the other day. I think we might actually be doing Kimbers all week. And we were talking about, what the hell were we talking about with Kimbers? And
the quality.
This is one of the few Kimbers that I would definitely grab. I'd grab a Warrior. I really like that grip. I don't know what it is. It's like a golf ball, I call it, or something weird, but those little ovally gallop thingies in the grip. Have you ever held one of these? It's like holding coral. It's really grippy. You don't need any texture or nothing. I'm pretty sure, what the hell I get over here? I guess they're smooth on the front, which is the only thing I don't like. I like some Fred checkering on a 1911, but otherwise, that's the Warrior, a Desert Warrior, and pretty nice looking Kimber, I think. I don't think I could get the camera any closer for you here.
That is gorgeous, but I'm now in love with Kimber's, having shot one. So,
well, this one you're allowed to be in love with. This is a good one. This is a quality Kimber.
That's a little scary having a pointing right at us, but that's okay.
I don't know if there are eras, like if there's good Warriors and bad Desert Warriors or what. And I don't think those are Trijicon, which is weird. I think they're just dots. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it looks pretty big. Those are probably Trijicons. Anyway, it's also got a accessory rail on its dust cover, so that's kind of rare, especially back when I did this in 2009. There was not a lot of 1911s coming out with that, and it was tan from the factory. Kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Oh,
so we always link to the gun of the days in there. You can check it out, and if you ever have a suggestion for gun of the day, you can send it to Bob at our website, at our email, dailygunshow@gmail.com.
Yes, indeed.
We do the movie of the day. We're probably down to the movie of the day.
Okay. What's the movie?
So I'm gonna let Bob do this one because I know he's seen it. So every day we try to talk about a gun-related movie, something you might not have seen in a while. This is a new movie though. So anyway, it's called The Siege of Jadotville. Everybody says to see it. I have not seen it yet. I have to be in the mood to watch a war movie.
Jadotville. Yeah, it's the first time the Irish Army, which has never been at war, the first time the Irish Army ever sent troops on a peacekeeping mission. Well, when the local warlords found out about that, they thought, oh, we're going to trash these guys. And, well, yeah, there's all kinds of backroom political stuff going on, but that's basically what happens. So these guys who are, you know, they've got crap weapons, basically. I mean, it's, you know, whatever the leftovers of the British Army. So they've got some kind of weird subguns and F-bands, and the sniper rifle they're using is a Lee Enfield. But they make good use of what they got, and they defend. They do eventually surrender, but spoiler alert, by the way. But it's a hell of a battle, and these guys made a name for themselves, for the Irish Army, for their first peacekeeping mission. But yeah, very good movie. I give it 2 definite thumbs up. Much respect to the Irish Army after watching it. So yeah, I think it's a good movie. I think if it's on Netflix or whatever and you see it, boy, you know, if you got a couple hours to spend, it's well worth it. I mean, it's actually something to make a point to watch. It's a warm movie from a different perspective.
Anybody else seen it?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob, for being the one who has seen it to talk about it. I'm not sure who put it in the list. What does it say there?
You know what's weird is I heard about it from Flippy.
I forgot whoever sent this in, but it says if you want to see a... Oh, I think we got a thing copy and pasted there is what happened. Because I don't think it really meant to say, if you want to see an Instagram of 387 posts in an action-packed war movie with lots of awesome Cold War weapons, I recommend watching this. So if you remove the Instagram part, it says, if you want to see an action-packed war movie with lots of awesome Cold War weapons, I recommend watching this. So thanks for whoever sent that in. That's the whole point of the show. And thanks, Bob. So we'll move on from that one. Tomorrow it is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which I have seen. And then Friday is Crank. And I've seen both those, but it's been a long time. So we'll get back into some action-y kind of, almost comedy. Isn't Two Smoking Barrels almost a comedy?
Yep.
So let's talk about, I don't know what to do for that one, Dano. So I'm thinking, oh, I was going to do Today in History. Duh. We have actually a pretty interesting day in history. I like to go look at this one website. I need to find out where Sean Ponnery goes because he's got a couple of cool places he checks out this day in history kind of stuff that are more gun military related. But today, June 7th, we've got all kinds of stuff happening. In 1498, Christopher Columbus left on his 3rd voyage of exploration. I thought it said the first one, so I don't know if that's even a big one. But in 1767, it says Daniel Boone sites present-day Kentucky. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean he created Kentucky, or he just decided to call it Kentucky, or I don't know what sites means.
He saw it?
So I mean, like, he just walked over the hill and was like, oh, there's some land. I'll eventually call that Kentucky. Today, June 7th, 1775, the United Colonies changed their name to the United States. So that's happened. Mexico City was captured by French troops today. I didn't even know that had happened. And today, 1900, the Boxer Rebellion, I think it's saying it started in China, or at least it was getting moving or something happened. The Boxers cut the rail links between Peking and Tianjin in China. So their version of a rebellion happened. And then the 1914, the first vessel passed through the Panama Canal. Oh, another neat one, kind of interesting. 1932, 7,000 war veterans marched on D.C., demanding their bonus pay from service in World War I. I didn't even know about that either.
Yeah, wasn't that brutally shut down by the government who said we can't afford to give you the bonuses we promised you before we sent you there?
Really? No, I didn't even know about that part. So that's conveniently not talked to us.
Yeah. Oh no. Come a dark day in history.
Well,
All
and
right.
that's maybe I should verify this before I say something, but my phone's going slow, so I'm just gonna say it anyways because I thought I heard them talking about it earlier today. Was today the day that the that ocean liner was sunk by German subs that kind of got us into World War I?
The Lusitania?
Yeah, I thought I heard that earlier today. I could be dreaming it from listening to all these podcasts recently.
World War II, no. World War I was, was Ferdinand what started
Well,
World
that's
War?
what started World War I, but what got the Americans involved is the Germans were shooting like merchant vessels or whatever.
Yeah, unrestricted warfare. If you were sailing towards Britain, they would sink you.
Well, if that did happen today, then I have a really crappy history source because that's significant.
I don't remember. I don't remember the date, so I couldn't say for sure.
I could have sworn that that I heard it from Sean possibly.
There's a great channel you could go to check it, called In War or whatever.
Forgotten something? No, that's Forgotten Weapons. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about too, and I can't think of it either.
Yeah.
This Day in History? No.
Oh, it was May 7th, not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to think of that darn show though.
The Great War?
The Great War. I think that's it. Yeah, because they're reporting on everything that happened during the Great War, like all of World War One, because it went on for years, right? So I think they're in 1917. They're reporting on the war, and it's about when America started to get involved, just in the last couple of years. So yeah, it was something like that. America wasn't involved, but they definitely supported the British. And, yeah,
Right on.
But yeah, the Great War, wonderful show.
And somebody was talking about podcasts earlier. I think it was Smeggy talking about a podcast he likes a lot. And I'm going to suggest to Smeggy and Bob and anybody who might be listening, we do have a section of gun channels. Actually, I've got gun channels open right here, don't I? We have a section of gun channels up here called Media, right? And there's a thing in here called Podcast. I'm going to open that in a new tab right away. And that basically just takes you over to a channel that is a bunch of, it takes you over to the podcast channels over there. So there's also one in here called Firearms Podcast. So in other words, when you click on podcasts in the menu under media, it's going to take you to this page, and it's going to have whatever current podcasts are here on gun channels right now. You see things like Rick's Life as I See It, Caliber Corner that Travis does on Saturday morning with the other one. Then there's this one called Firearms Podcast, just in general. And then here, you're more than welcome. In fact, you're encouraged to link whatever new podcasts might be out there, so that people can use it as a resource to, if they're find themselves in taking a road trip or some kind of a task at work where they're going to have some time to listen, and they've listened to all their normal stuff that they listen to, or they're looking for something new. That's what that section of gun channels is all about. Was I screen sharing? I don't know if I was screen sharing. I just walked all through it, but oh.
You were not screen sharing.
Yeah, I didn't know that was there. but I'm so computer illiterate. It's not funny.
That's fine. So with that, we will move on to what's going on tomorrow. It'll be Thursday. It'll be episode 329. We'll talk about gun stuff. We'll talk about the dumbest thing we ever did with a gun. So I don't know.
I don't know if I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Training, taking a class twice, question marks. And then we talk about shooting events. So I posted a bunch of them over there. I encourage anybody who wants to use the calendar over on Gun Channels. Again, up at the top of every page on Gun Channels, there's a menu. Under the resources tab, you've got a calendar, and you can post whatever firearms related thing, gun show, maybe a local event at a gun shop in your area, a shooting event of some sort, like an exposition shoot, or anything, a trade show or something. Put it in there. Let people know about it. You never know who might be reading it, who lives in that area. You never know who might be traveling. But also, I'll keep saying, we're here to encourage people and educate people on the back end of this internet, this thing that we're all enjoying for entertainment and taking part of it, putting stuff up there that's helping those organizations by creating links back to that organization. It's going to help them in search engines. It's going to help them when people just out in the world are searching for what to do this weekend. So it really does help in more than one way. So please take advantage of the resource. Otherwise, we'll talk about all the normal stuff we talk about on a normal day, and we'll see you back here at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
All right, so
See you tomorrow.
guess that'll wrap it up, and we'll end with our quote as usual. This one's off a bumper sticker. Basically, I think it's by Anonymous, but if anybody knows exactly who said the quote originally, let me know in the comments. Daily Gun Show at gmail.com. Anyway, on that, before we go, I want to remind everybody, please share, please like, thumbs up our videos, and let's get the word out that we're here and we're doing this every day. So here's our quote. You can have my gun when you take it from my cold, dead hands. And on that cheery note, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.